Very good evening, my dear friends. We are completing the study of Reserve Bank of India today. And with this, I think we will conclude our discussion on the banking subject matter. Then, friends, this particular topic today covers the massive powers vested with the Reserve Bank of India under the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. Not only this legislation, there are also various other legislations, in fact, which grants multifarious powers to the Reserve Bank, and those several, in fact, provisions of RBI Act I have already discussed. But today I want to bring to your notice the various other legislations which are connected with this Reserve Bank of India Act. Apart from the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934, the RBI is governed under the Public Debt Act 1944, then the Government Securities Act 2006, the Government Securities Regulations 2007, Banking Regulation Act 1949, of course, the Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, the Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002, which is called Securitization Act or otherwise Surface Act. Okay. Then, Credit Information Companies Regulation Act 2005, Payment and Settlement Systems Act 2007, Payment and Settlement Systems Regulations 2008 and amended up to date, and BPSS Regulations 2008, the Payment and Settlement Systems Amendment Act 2015, Factoring Regulation Act 2011, Negotiable Instruments Act 1881, Bankers Books Evidence Act 1891, the State Bank of India Act 1955, the Companies Act 1956, and then, of course, the Companies Act 2013, the Securities Contract Regulation Act 1956, the State Bank of India Subsidiary Banks Act 1959, Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Act 1961, Banking Companies Acquisition and Transfer of Undertakings Act 1970, the Regional Rural Banks Act 1976. Then, friends, Banking Companies Regulation, Banking Companies Acquisition and Transfer of Undertakings Act 1980, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development Act 1981, NABARD, National Housing Bank Limited 1987, Recovery of Debts Due to Banks and Financial Institutions Act 1993, that is the DRT Act, the Competition Act 2002, Indian Coinage Act 2011, governing the currency and coins in the country, Banking Secrecy Act, the Industrial Development Bank Transfer of Undertaking and Repeal Act 2003, of course, and finally, the Industrial Finance Corporation Transfer of Undertaking and Repeal Act 1993. Now, friends, with regard to RBI, there are various powers vested with the RBI to discharge its functions. Some of the important provisions I bring to your notice. Number one, Section 18. The bank, that is the Reserve Bank of India, has the power of direct discount of bills of exchange or promissory notes. Section 21. The Reserve Bank of India has the power to transact government business in India. Then sections 20 to 45, the RBI discharges multiple functions and the power is also vested under many of these provisions. Then section 45A to 45F, the bank is vested with the power to collect credit information. Then 45H to 45QB, it has the power to regulate non-banking institutions, receiving deposits and also financial institutions, and the powers are there, multiple, to regulate them. Then the RBI has also been empowered under Section 45W to regulate transactions in derivatives, money market instruments, or securities. Then Section 54A empowers the RBI to delegate its powers for in fact efficient administration of the functions of the RBI. Then 54AA, the bank has power to depute its employees to other institutions. Then Section 58G, the bank has power to impose fine on NBFCs for default and contravention of the provisions of the Act. Then the RBI also is empowered under this RBI Act to make regulations. Now the RBI has got powers under the Banking Regulation Act 1949. Under Section 21, the RBI has power to control advances by banking companies. Section 35, it has power to inspect banks. 35A, it has power to give directions. 36, power to give directions. The 35A, it has powers to give various directions. 35, inspect the bank. Then 36, further powers and functions to discharge its duties. Then 36AA, AB and AC, power to remove managerial and other persons and appoint additional directors in the banks. Then friends, under Section 38A, the RBI could be the official liquidator in case of winding up of the banks. Then Section 45 of the Banking Regulation Act, the RBI has power to apply to central government for suspension of business by a banking company. Then a scheme of reconstitution or amalgamation can also be made out. Reconstitution or amalgamation. Then Section 55P, the RBI can tender advice in winding up proceedings. Then under 45Q, it has powers to inspect in case of winding up of proceedings of banks. Then 45R, the RBI has powers to call for returns and information. Then Section 47A of the Banking Regulation Act empowers the RBI to impose penalty for contravention. In the same way, there are several provisions of FEMA and other legislations, as I have already pointed out. Under all that, the RBI has got multidimensional powers as regulator of functioning of banks. So the regulator for functioning of banks in the country is RBI. The regulator for stock markets and stockbrokers happens to be SEBI. The regulator for corporate affairs is the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Dispute resolution is concerned, it is the National Company Law Tribunal and NCLAT for corporate matters, company matters, and it is for securities disputes, it is the Securities Separate Tribunal. And for this particular Reserve Bank related issues, where banking issues are concerned, in fact, it is the regular local high courts which have got power to, in fact, adjudicate the disputes thereon. So the dispute resolution fora differ from subject to subject matter. So with regard to banking, the regulator for all banking institutions and the functions thereon happens to be the Reserve Bank of India. Dispute resolution, the high courts, and of course the Supreme Court thereon. There is no tribunal except the FEMA tribunal thereon. So with this particular background, friends, we conclude our discussion on the subject of Reserve Bank of India's powers, the various powers vested with the Reserve Bank of India under various legislations. With this background, we conclude our discussion on the RBI, and then totally we have concluded our discussion on the banking subject, and soon we will take up the Negotiable Instruments Act and then go into the appropriate details thereon. So thank you very much, friends, and goodbye and good night. We'll meet again.